the way you described it, how, there's certain departments and certain people that are just specifically related to coverage, and that tells me that there's a lot of it coming in. So can you kind of, from an insider perspective, give me and the people that are going to be listening to this an idea of really the reality of how many screenplays come in on top of the ones that are left over from the year before into Hollywood as a big picture a year?
Well, now I will say I've never worked at an agency. I've worked at production companies and things, but I've never worked at an agency, so I don't know how their specific coverage system works as to how many come in, but I will tell you that the major agencies get about 3,000 to 5,000 query letters a month, and most of them go into the garbage because they don't read unsolicited queries. So that is, 3,000 times 44-cent stamp, however many that is, being wasted every month. Even boutique agencies and boutique management companies get hundreds of query letters every single month. And again, unsolicited, they go in the garbage, or they read them, and if they're really bad, they stick them up on their noteboard as examples of what not to do.
Right. And
I know that because they send them to me because I teach a logline and query letter course.
And they're like, please help these people.
New examples. Yeah. Or just, this is what... They send me their awesome ones that are laughably bad so that I can read them in my class.
Do they ever send you ones and say, Danny, did you have anything to do with this?
No. that they don't do, thankfully.
Right.
But, my query letters are pretty good, but I guess they need to be. I teach it, so... but yeah, so it is... I don't know how many scripts come into Hollywood per year, but I would gather to say there's probably 100,000 screenwriters every year trying to, do their craft and write, and they may not all be submitting or ready to submit every year, but there are tons. I mean, we used to get, I probably read 500 scripts a year when I was in executive, at least. And so what writers need to realize when they're submitting is that there's a hierarchy of scripts, and they are, query letters or pitch fast or, random, emails sent where you don't have a referral or anything. You are at the bottom of the totem pole there. It goes from scripts that are already, they're already developing, or scripts that are set up, then scripts that they're already developing, then scripts that agents and managers sent, then spec scripts that come out every week, then scripts that referrals and friends and lawyers and people send in, then scripts that they have requested from outside sources, then you. So people are like, why does it take 3 months to get back, on my script? Well, it's because we just got 200 scripts in, and yours is number 199. So, it is time staking, and there is a huge... I've seen it in the last maybe 6 years, a huge influx of scripts and product and people trying to make it. And I'm not sure if that's because of, Hollywood's been a little demystified in the last 5-10 years, if it's the increase in social media, social networking, and everyone thinks that they're, the next fucking Chris Nolan, and they're not.
A lot of these people are going to lead you astray simply because it keeps you at bay. It keeps you hindered with the process and all the bullshit. Oh my god, I'm wondering if my brads are bent right. You know what, dude? Don't worry about your fucking brads, man. Go write your goddamn screenplay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that I don't think that Hollywood is to keep anybody out. I actually think Hollywood is letting people in, to be very honest. People who are not ready or good enough, and then people complain, why is there so much shit, made by Hollywood on the screen? Well, it's because we're letting people who aren't good enough write our movies, and we're bringing them in. Hollywood, I think, used to be maybe just a little bit more selective, but now there's so many ways in, and so many ways to break in and get noticed and get repped and get read, that it is opening the floodgates a little bit. But I don't think Hollywood's actually trying to keep anybody out. I think Hollywood is hungry for material and hungry for new voices, and they're looking everywhere for it. That's not to say that you don't have to be good enough to get noticed. And we talked at the beginning of the hour about how many scripts are out there and how many people are trying. one of the numbers that always staggers me is if you take the top 10 screenwriting contests out there, the biggest 10 screenwriting contests, let's say, some of them have genre prizes and different prizes. So let's say you're looking at 100 prizes total for the top 10 screenwriting contests. Because there's like 5 winners of Nichols and there's, 10 winners in Page and stuff like that. So let's say there's 100 winners out of the top 10 contests. There are over 30,000 scripts submitted just between the top 10 contests, and there are hundreds of contests out there, but just in the top 10 there's over 30,000 scripts every year submitted combined. So you have to be one of the best 100 writers out of 30,000. If you can't say that, or if you don't, even finalists, let's say out of those 30,000, there's 3,000 finalists, that will still get recognized, or maybe they'll get phone calls or meetings. So if you're not one of the best 3,000 out of 30,000, then you're wasting your time. You're not good enough to get noticed yet. So just get better. Stop going to contests. Stop querying. Stop pitching, and just get better. Take classes. Get feedback. Use consultants or books or courses or film school or whatever the hell it is, or screenwriting groups, and just get better, because it's not a race, and just because you finish a script first doesn't mean you finish the script best. And your job as a writer should be to try to finish the script best.
That's a great point. It really is. I mean, when it comes down to it, nothing is going to sell your script better than your story and your skills that are involved in making that story happen.
Absolutely. No, everybody wonders why they're not breaking in and why they haven't been, discovered yet. And my honest answer, like 80% of the time, is you're not good enough yet. Not that you can't get there, not that you don't have potential, but you're not there yet.
Right.
Any executive or agent will tell you that out of all the scripts they read in a year, and this is a uniform answer I think you'll find anywhere, probably 1 to 2% are good enough to get made or bought or sold. So yeah, you've got to be better than good. You've got to be great. The only people who get to just be good and be successful are A-list screenwriters. They can just be good. You have to be fucking awesome. Because they're already in, and they already have studios wanting to work with them, and their good is good enough. But to break in and get a job over one of those writers, you've got to be fucking great.
Yeah, that's insanity right there.